Good morning, students. So today we're going to go over basic procedures of how to use our repair kits. All right. So these repair kits, we will do our projects on this side of the room, as you guys can see. All right. We will have only 2 teams at a table. All right. So only be 2 teams. You guys can pick who you want on your team, but there's only 2 people in a group. There should be only 2 people in a group. And so, therefore, what we're going to start out with, when it comes to these here, how they operate, all right, as you see here, all right, and so these are going to sit on this table here. We're going to have 2 on this table, as you can see here, 2 on this table. You're going to have 2 on that table, all right. And students are going to sit over here, and you're going to go back and forth getting materials that you need out of these boxes. All right? And so how these boxes work is they have little clamps. You just pop them open, and there's 2 parts to this. So the top part here, you just have to pull here. See these little lips here? You have little lips here. And what you would do here is just pull up on this, and it pops open, and you get access to all of the parts that you need to put your device together. All right? And so if you want to access the next section, you just close this. You got to close this first. All right? And then you can open up the whole section while this is closed. All right, and you will have other parts in here that you can use. All right, and so with that being said, you should have an idea of how to open and close this box and where to access like your screws and nuts and bolts. All right, let's get this back situated. All right, so now that we have that, all right. Now that you understand this portion of it, when it comes to what you're going to use, all right, this here is a nut, all right, as you can see, it's a nut, and it has a washer on it. That washer is this little part that's on the back. It spins around, all right. Now the washer, when you are screwing this onto a bolt, the washer always goes towards the head. So it will always go this way. This here is the correct way. The nut and the washer, here, let me hold it with some pliers. This is the correct way the nut and the washer goes. The washer always goes towards the head. Oops, I'm dropping stuff. You can see I'm screwing this down, and so this is the correct way this goes. All right, back it up. Let me unscrew it. The incorrect way is to flip this around this way. The nut should not go on the inside. All right, as you can see here, you see how the washer is pointing away. It's pointing away from the head. All right, this is incorrect. All right, so you should not do it this way. All right, and so when you are putting parts together, for instance, if you wanted to, if I have these 2 sheets here. All right, these are just metal plates. All right, these metal plates, please don't destroy them. All right, they do cost money, and I like to keep them. So please just take good care of school materials. All right? And so if I have these 2 plates and I want them to be put together, all I would do is line up the holes, as you see that I've done here. I've lined them up, and I could take a bolt, put it in one, You can hold it down with your finger. As you see, I'm holding that down with my finger. And I'll take the other nut and get it started. Here we go. Alright. So I'll snug it down. As you see here, I've snugged that down. It's not tight, but I've snugged it down. It's just holding it in place. And then I'll grab another one. And I could, because if you just put one, as you can see, it moves. And so therefore, I will put two. Slide this out the way. I'll put one here. Place that in. As you can see, I'm holding it with my finger. And then I will screw this nut down. Alright, so now that I have it screwed down, you can see now it doesn't move. It doesn't slide. Alright, and so now these are not tight, and so I would need to tighten them up. Alright, and so the way you can do that, you can either use a wrench, and you would have to use one of these Allen wrenches. Alright, these Allen wrenches here, it has a ball end and a hex end. Okay, now what you can do here, these here fits the black screws. Alright, and so this here's the wrench. You just take the wrench, you just hold it on one side, have a partner help you do this, have a partner hold this one, and then you take the Allen wrench, and you can either put it in this way and turn it, or you can put it in this way, and you can also turn it. Oh, let me get in here. Alright, there we go. And now I am tightening it down. Now you just need to snug these down. They don't have to be torqued all the way down, because you got to think it's just piece of thin metal. Alright, but your screws should always be snugged down to where your creation doesn't wobble or lean. Alright, you can also take your finger and hold it, and you can use the wrench and you can tighten it down also just by holding it, and you can tighten it down this way too. I'm just using my finger, I'm holding this side, and I've got the wrench on it, and I'm just tightening it down. And so now it is really good and snug, all right? And so you will be graded when you create your robots. You will be graded on how well you put these together. You know, if your robot is wobbly because you didn't tighten up screws, all right? And so this is my expectations for your parts to be snugged down well. All right, everybody understands now how to use the nut and the bolt. All right, you set this to the side. Alright, now you will also have something like this. You have different sizes, and these are, you can say axles or rods, alright, and you can use these to put actual gears on. Alright, so I can put gears on it. If I want to connect to another gear, you can use these. Alright, and so when you are using these, you will have to use these fasteners. Alright, they're round fasteners, as you can see. And they have a little screw at the top of it. Now, these here take different size Allen wrenches. This is the Allen wrench that fits it. And so, if I want to loosen it or tighten it, alright, all I have to do is I can put this on here, and you see now how it slides. Alright, you don't want that, because especially if you're putting a tire or a wheel or a gear on it. If I'm putting this gear on this, alright, I don't want it sliding around, so I will put this in front of the tire or the gear, and then I would use the Allen wrench, and I would just tighten this down. Alright, alright. Once again, it just needs to be snug. It doesn't have to be, you know, really cranked down on it, and then you can see that it doesn't move. Alright, it's in place. This here is a fastener, and you will have to use a different size Allen wrench for the fastener. Alright, so we understand this. And you can see I have bags, tools. Alright, let's see what else I have in here. Alright, now these here are just spacers. Alright, you can see they have 3 little holes in it. But they're spacers. What they are used for is when you are putting a wheel on or a gear on. So for instance, if I'm putting this gear here, All right, so the gear can't just sit up against the metal. All right, it's not gonna work right like this. So you will have to have these spacers in there. So the way you can do this is you'll get 2 screws. So I have 2 short screws here. All right, and you'll start with 1. All right, if the tire or the wheel or the gears on this side, all right, you want to put the nut on the other side. All right, so I want the nut on this side. All right, so then I'll take a nut. I would screw this in, as you can see. I'll do the same thing with the other one. I'll put 2 of these, one on the outside, one on this outside. All right, you don't want to put one in the middle. Why? Because that is where your rod is going to go. Here. All right, and so let me get another screw. Well, not a screw, but a nut. That bolt. Let me get another nut. That one didn't work right. Get this one. All right, here you go. What you do not want to do is use extremely long ones to put in here, because then that nut bolt, it will be extended very far from the metal piece. All right? And so as you see here, I have this spacer in here now. All right. Now, if I was going to put this on there, it would look like this. All right. You can see that it is separated from this, but you can see that it is close to this. And so what you have to do is you will have these little spacers here. And you would take this spacer, place it here. All right. You see that? And then, voila. You have this arrangement. And then you can see that it has enough space and it doesn't do a whole lot of wobbling due to this. All right. And so if you was making, say, something like a car or something, all right, and you would do the same thing on the other side. You would take this, put this in there, and you will have a clamp, and this will be a lot more stable. All right, it will be a lot more stable. What I shouldn't see is this. This would be the incorrect way to do it. For you to place this in here, you see how it just wobbles around? That's because it doesn't have that spacer. All right, and so it's not going to work correct. So this would be the incorrect way. This here would be the correct way. You can see that it doesn't wobble around. Why? Because it has the space in there to help keep it stable. All right. So these are some of the major parts that you're going to start out with using when it comes to creating and designing. For safety reasons, do not play around with these. Do not poke people with tools. All right. Do not hit people with metal plates. All right. And so please just make sure that we are using the materials for what they are needed. All right. And once again, we will sit on this side of the room. All right. And the boxes will sit on these tables. Will be 2 per table, and you will just go back and forth getting the materials that you are that's needed. Okay. We will always start out with a scenario, all right, and understanding what is needed. Okay. You will be playing the engineers for a company. All right. And so that is your role. You are the engineer, and I am the person that's going to bring you all of the jobs, all of the individual problems that need to be solved. Okay. And you will have to solve them by using your knowledge and skills around building, putting parts together, programming, microcontrollers. You'll be using a lot of different parts, especially like the VEX kit. But for today, we're going to start out with just understanding the basic materials that's needed to put a robot together. Thank you for your time.